Your life was inscribed long before you drew your first breath, and it is still being written right now, not by blind fate or random chance, but by a field of consciousness so ancient and boundless that it stores every motion of your soul, every emotion, every dream. There exists a realm, if realm is even the right word, where every thought, intention, and karmic imprint of every being that has ever lived is recorded. The field is so silent that most never hear it, so subtle that almost no one senses it, and yet it is always near, just beyond the veil of ordinary perception. You have touched it already, in the stillness of meditation, in the piercing clarity of déjà vu, in dreams that feel more real than waking life. The ancients called it Akasha. Mystics sensed it intuitively. Today we speak of the Akashic records, but make no mistake, this is no New Age invention. It is the blueprint beneath your reality itself. Once you glimpse it, you will never look at yourself the same way again. There is a reason you sometimes feel as if your life is merely a chapter of a vast novel, open somewhere in the middle with no access to the earlier pages. That isn't fantasy, it's a subtle intuition. Deep down, you know your soul has lived far more than a single life, and the record of those lives did not vanish when you were born anew. That record has a name, whispered for millennia across cultures and continents: the Akashic records. The records are not a book, not a scroll, not a secret hall beneath the earth. They are a dimension beyond time and space, a non-physical field of consciousness functioning as a spiritual database. Imagine a vibrational archive that holds not only your every action, but each thought, feeling, and intention. Every choice, every lesson, every lifetime is encoded there, and not just yours, those of everyone who has ever drawn breath. This is not access for the chosen few. It is the fabric of consciousness itself. The word Akasha derives from the Sanskrit Akasha, ether, spirit. In ancient Indian cosmology, it is the fifth element, the subtlest essence from which all things arise. For the sages, Akasha was no metaphor but an invisible thread connecting every manifestation of being, the very intelligence of the universe expressed through the memory of the field. Variations of this idea appear in nearly every mystical tradition. The ancient Hebrews spoke of the Book of Life, the Egyptians a Hall of Souls. Islam speaks of Al-Law al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet. In modern Western esotericism, Helena Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner wrote of a cosmic memory beyond the senses. They invented nothing. They were remembering. If you have ever wondered why some are born wise while others carry fears with no explanation in this life, why a place you've never visited feels familiar, you are not losing your mind. You are catching the echo of the records. We carry layers of experience within us, and those layers are not chaos but pattern, part of a larger curriculum to which the soul agreed. Until you recognize the patterns, they unfold unconsciously, again and again. Here the records cease to be an idea and become a key, a map, a compass pointing back to yourself. Inside them wait answers, not only to who you were, but to who you are becoming. Lessons wait to be integrated, and a truth few ever approach. Your purpose is not invented, it is remembered. Do not let anyone convince you the records are forbidden fruit. They simply reside beyond the frequency to which few attune. Systems of power have long insisted that knowledge lives in textbooks, authority in institutions, answers outside yourself. The records say otherwise. The highest wisdom is recalled, not acquired. You need not be a guru, you need only become quiet enough to hear the call that has long echoed within. Access to the field opens through sincerity, intention, readiness. The question is not can you enter, but what will happen when you do. Long before the term Akashic records existed, there were those who experienced them directly: rishis, seers, shamans, druids. They carried back messages written in light, not ink. What they encountered was not language, but pure knowing, vibration. Cultures gave the field different names, yet all agreed. An invisible domain holds the soul's memory. Where did this knowledge go? It was not lost. It was marginalized. Inquisitions burned mystics, colonizers outlawed rituals, libraries were destroyed. Because if the soul has memory, authority shifts inward, not outward. Such ideas have no place in a system built on control. Yet remembrance does not die. Children recall past lives, strangers share the same dream. Ancient texts from disparate civilizations describe identical experiences. The evidence exists. It simply does not fit the convenient narrative. Instead of truth, the world offered you a new story. You are a name, a job, a nation. Your path begins with a birth certificate and ends with an obituary. Everything else is myth. But beneath that surface, the older story waits. Your soul whispers it in the silence of night, in sparks of synchronicity, in the creative flow where the hand moves faster than thought. The Akashic records are not elite. They require no walls or guards. They respond not to intellect, but to frequency. They cannot be read with the eyes. They are tuned into like a radio. That resonance is reachable through thousands of doors: meditation, lucid dreaming, breathwork, even deep art. The method is secondary, purity of intent is primary. When the field answers, it does not flatter the ego. It shows loops, wounds, patterns stretching across centuries, and at the same time reveals the power sleeping underneath them. It reminds you of one thing: you are far greater than you were told. Many have touched the records without naming them. The sudden knowing that prevented a mistake, the words on someone's lips before they spoke, an irrational pull toward a place or era. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of memory. The records are not an escape from the world, but a full entry into it. They do not bypass reality, they expose it, stripping away layers of illusion and conditioning. Once inside, you can never again deem yourself small, broken, or powerless. You came here not empty-handed. You carried a blueprint forged in previous lives. The records hold not only facts, but the energetic residue of experience, what some call karma, others soul memory. Karma is not punishment, but momentum, energy seeking resolution. A betrayal unhealed can yield a life of fierce protection. A silenced voice awakens a thirst to speak truth. Patterns are not random. They are lessons we agreed to. There are soul contracts too. Agreements to meet certain people, to undergo challenges that catalyze growth. The records let us glimpse these contracts so that pain's meaning replaces despair with understanding. Paradoxically, the blueprint is fluid. The past shapes the present but does not imprison it. Karmic knots can be untied, contracts rewritten. The records show the map, but the pen is still in your hand. To the skeptic, the Akashic field is poetry. Yet quantum physics, the holographic universe theory, and consciousness research increasingly bridge science and spirituality. Scholars like Ervin Laszlo speak of an A field as the informational substrate of the cosmos. The holographic model predicts each part contains the whole. If information is the foundation of reality, the memory field is not mysticism but logic. Institutions, however, cling to old materialism because awakened souls are harder to govern. The system prefers you forget. Forget who you were, forget what you know. Outer adulthood was accompanied by inner amnesia, but no power can erase the soul's memory. When the world commands work, consume, obey, a quiet voice inside whispers, "There is more." And that whisper grows, through art, through crisis, through tears that suddenly cleanse. Forgetting was strong, but remembering is stronger. Access to the records requires no titles or initiations, it requires presence. Silence is the portal. Do not seek storms. The records rarely shout. They sound like your own voice, only deeper, older. Sit with a question and remain, not chasing answers. Ask not, "What should I do?" but "What must I remember?" The answer may arrive at once or return as a dream, a lyric, an uncanny coincidence. Right stream of consciousness, letting logic step aside. Thank the body when tears come. They are space clearing, not weakness. Obstacles often lie not in inability but in avoidance. Shadow fears the light, yet the records illuminate to heal. Different people have different gateways, nature for some, music for others. Creativity often unlocks memory faster than books, for the field's language is vibration. Honesty, curiosity, willingness to feel, these are the keys. Trust. What surfaces does so for a reason. You are not imagining, you are remembering. Each act of remembrance stitches the gap between who you were and who you are here to be. Over time, you become a living library, a channel between the seen and the unseen. The hunger for meaning gives way to the embodiment of meaning. Imagine a world where people ask not "Who am I?" but "Who have I always been?" Where millions look not outward but inward. Such awakening changes civilization's trajectory. A remembering soul is less easily controlled, it creates rather than consumes. Healing oneself heals the lineage, for on the invisible web of all causes and effects, one vibration influences the whole. Old systems crumble not with fire but with fragility. Fewer choose to uphold them. What once seemed valuable to earn now reveals its emptiness. True worth is not measured by diplomas or certificates. Remember, the records do not remove you from the world. They return you to it in wholeness. They offer not a rewritten life, but a reclaimed one. You are not a human trying to be spiritual. You are spirit remembering what it is to be human. If you are reading these words, the awakening has begun. Do not stop. Sit in silence. Let the body breathe. Ask what your soul wishes to remind you of. And when the answer comes, even as a whisper, let it lead. The Akashic records do not foretell the ending. They remind you that the author is still you. The next chapter waits to be written from memory, sovereignty, and truth. If any of this resonates, simply say within, "I remember," and let remembering turn the pages you once thought were lost forever.